Hello everybody and welcome back to Esports Ohio. This is the makeup week for the 2025 spring season for the Overwatch 2. Today we are going to be having Shaker Heights versus East Canton High School. I'm one of your casters for today, OP Knees, and I'm here with I'm Not Sure. How do you think it is going to go down on the map Busan?
Busan's a very versatile map. We see it played multiple ways throughout the season. Both these teams have shown off their skills throughout the season, being 5-0 and 5-1 respectively. So, you're already going to be seeing this Maga come out for the side of Shaker Heights, correct?
No, East Canton.
Or is that East Canton has the Maga. So, and also, I believe earlier in the season, we did see Shaker Heights using this dive comp, and it proved to be very effective.
Definitely, especially with Pikmanchu on the Doomfist. He's very confident on that role. But also, on the side of East Canton, I know the Malga, UC Hornet 3 is very confident on that Malga role as well. We're going to see how they're going to clash.
And just getting right into the action already, just hard dives going in for Pikmanchu early on. Just an absolute mayhem. The May will be taken out on the side of East Canton by Sleepy Leaf. Shaker Heights will be retreating a little bit, and then Shaker Heights following. You're going to be seeing a pick come on for the Sojourn. Pushing onto site now. The Sojourn picks off another one. Pikmanchu following with two more picks, taking down the Maga and Lifeweaver.
Start of that fight, you saw Cross and Clover got picked on the Genji pretty early from Ultra Yobaki, but East Canton just could not capitalize on their advantage. Weren't quite shooting the same targets. And now they're going to go in again. This could be a first pick on Cross and Clover. East Canton 3 is going to be able to go in early.
Both of these teams are playing so aggressive. You see EC Hornets just confidence with this Maga. Very unkillable character, but will be falling low. Hunting down that Reaper, will find one as Cross and Clover will get a pick on the Kiriko, and picks fall for both teams. It's going to be a 3v3 fight here. See if either team wants to make a play here. There will still be a pretty prevalent team fight. Gavin trying to go in on that venture. Pikmanchu forced to fall back as the Maga will come back online for that East Canton team. And Gavin will get a pick, as well as EC Hornet on Shaker Heights. It is slowly falling apart for Shaker Heights, and this looks like it will be a win for East Canton. East Canton does cap that point, and it is cleanup time.
It is. Easy did have to use the Lifeweaver ult to Tree of Life. It's going to be expelled, but it's the only ult going to be used on their side. Pikmanchu doesn't quite have his orbital strike down yet, but we're going to see 4 ults on both sides of Shaker Heights and on EC, and it seems like Shaker Heights are doing this early rotation to the side to immediately capture the point right under the nose of EC.
And that's going to be an early May freeze. It's just going to be denying point from Shaker Heights. As both teams are clashing on point, you see the Lucio beat come online. Shaker Heights, Cross and Clover will fall as Gavin will pop the Venture ult. Will fall promptly after, but will get a pick. It is fairly even at the moment. It does seem as if it's a 2v2. Who will come out on top? Shaker Heights with the Lucio Doomfist versus the Maga. The Maga will be falling very low, will fall down. That May is left and will be pushed off of the point. Shaker Heights will be at 99% here, but East Canton does have the opportunity to touch. Both teams have some ults. The Reaper will pop his ult, gets 2. And it is cleanup time for Shaker Heights. There will be a Maga, see if he can stay alive. Will be popping that cage. Sleepy Leaf falling low. Can Maga stay alive? No, he cannot, as the Kiriko will fall as well for East Canton, and Shaker Heights will go 1-0 on Busan.
that extended fight we saw right there where it was down to a 2v2 right at the end was so beneficial for Shaker Heights after they were able to capture that point. East Canton had a little bit better understanding of where Shaker Heights was once able to stop them from getting the cap. That fight goes in their way, and instead of it being 100 to 25, we see that it's going to be more towards 50-50 on both fights, and there might be another fight able to be engaged in. But since Sugar Heights was able to cap the point right under the noses of EC, they're able to just get it before they can really do anything. And this on Cross and Clover here on the Sojourn is going absolutely nuclear, able to get picks early and do massive amounts of damage onto the EC's Malga.
Absolutely. Cross and Clover will be switching up to the Tracer, just switching up the comps a little bit here. Gonna see how that works out for the Shaker Heights team. Going in for this dive very early on, Pikmonchu will find nothing, but the Mercy is gonna fall low and will fall to the Lucio on part of Shaker Heights. Sleepy Leaf will find another as well. It's gonna be a 5v3 in favor of Shaker Heights, and it is gonna be cleanup time, taking the early team fight win as this Malga is left alive.
Very, very, very aggressive dive here from Shaker Heights. They swapped over to the Tracer, and since Azuri swapped over to the Mercy, there's really no one to mark this Tracer, so East Canton has to battle faster than the dive can come out. Cross and Clover is going to have good rotations, and if they let this Tracer get to a good spot, the Tracer is just going to eat them alive.
Absolutely. Tracer can be an absolutely devastating character to go up against. Tracer will fall pretty low, but we'll take it back with the team. Pikmonchu diving in. Tracer falls in the back line. Or sorry, not falls in the back line. Lifeweaver will fall. Pikmonchu is going nuclear. Sleepy Leaf trades coming out from both teams. Cross and Clover possibly looking to use that time bomb here. Will get some damage, but Malga will be falling low on the side of East Canton. Getting pocketed by that Mercy, will get taken away by that Lifeweaver pull. Shaker Heights pursuing, looking for more kills.
Zuri falls. That's going to be the Lifeweaver, only support really left. He's going to fall as well. The Malga has to try to escape. 60% for Shaker Heights here. It's getting very difficult for East Canton to really put any pressure on us. The dive is just too impactful. There's too many angles to cut off. And the DPS just cannot get a pick, but until Ultra Igobaki finally finds something to peek on shoot.
East Canton will be having almost all of their ults online here soon as the Deadeye comes online.
Finally, they find their footing after getting a pick onto the tank. Gavin hitting some nice shots with the Mercy pocket is going to be doing some good damage, but the point is going to be stalled out by the Tracer, who is on top of the point, stopping them from being able to really do much. Again, this fight is going to win Shaker Heights. It's just taking too long for East Canton. The Pulse Bomb doesn't really do anything as the cage fight is going to force the Doomfist to not be able to play the game. Just net 2 kills there. This is going to be 99-0 at the moment. They have to try to get these cleanup kills. It looks like the East Canton is able to do it, but it is slow and it is painful. Finally, going to be able to cap the point as the rest of Shaker Heights has to fall back to regroup.
East Canton not trying to use too many ults there, and they did a pretty good job just being persistent and fighting their way through that. They still have that Cassidy ult and that May ult versus the Reaper ult on the side of Shaker Heights, and we did see Sleepy Leaf getting a great Reaper ult at the end of last round. Slowly walking on is Shaker Heights. It's gonna be chaotic. Immediately, Sleepy Leaf gets another 2K Blossom. The Mayfreeze will come out to try combating it. Will not get any freezes. Sleepy Leaf finding another, and Sleepy Leaf looking for the ace here. He almost has it, and he will get the 5-man. Sleepy Leaf, have yourself a day as Shaker Heights goes 2-0 on Busan.
Yep, this is the Shaker Heights I remember when I was playing on East Canton's roster as well. Very aggressive, very coordinated team. Able to really make these dives happen. You see the freeze there from Ultra Igobaki. Just didn't quite get the picks it was looking for. And honestly, I believe one of the main issues here with East Canton's composition is their backline. They have really nothing to mark these DPS characters. They have a Life Weaver and a Mercy. Both are very diveable. The only thing they can do to stop the DPS from doing damage to them is heal each other. But when you have a Mercy, the only real thing she can do at a time is heal and live. And when you have supports like Kiriko, Iliari, Baptiste even, who can do damage and heal at the same time, it's just not being enough of a threat to the Shaker Heights DPS lineup.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It goes back to that rock, paper, scissors, conversation. If you're going up against this strong of a dive, you need to have supports that are a little bit more brawlish, that are going to be with your team rather than spread out, because that just opens it up for the Shaker Heights team to run this like so prevalent dive. It's basically just giving them an outlet to express their their evil desires in killing these supports. You need to be protecting your supports, and that does start with the supports. You gotta have these characters that can stay with their team and can stay close with their team rather than getting dived. It does look like East Canton will be choosing King's Row here, and that's an interesting map pick. How are you feeling about that?
Well, being on the roster, I know the coach. This is a map that is scrimmed a lot by East Canton. It's one of their comfort picks ever since they've been basically they've all been trained in the brawl meta, so they all love King's Row. Is such a brawl focused map on that first point. And if you know how to really play together as a team and brawl, King's Row can definitely take you to the next spot. And also, I think that the DPS are a lot more comfortable on this type of map. The angles are a lot more suited to them, especially since we have Ultra Ego Baki, who really likes favoring that Mei. There's a lot of choke points you can close off and really just solidify a pick, especially with the backline that Shaker Heights is running with that Lucio Iliari. It's a very exploitable backline with not a lot of healing. So if they're able to wall off the tank or wall off a DPS from Shaker Heights, that is going to be the win condition on this map.
Yeah, King's Row is just such a fun map to watch. I always just love seeing a Reinhardt just go in there, Reinhardt duels, even some Zarya gameplay. King's Row is just such a phenomenal map, as it's so balanced, and those brawl fights are always so much fun. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a Maga come out once again for EC Hornet on this attack.
Definitely. He definitely really does favor Malga, even in metas that are not exactly favored to Malga, even though this meta is. Malga is one of those characters, I know EC Hornet 3, he labs it, he practices it a lot. So it's more or less his comfort pick, but he will go over onto this Ramatra, something we've seen EC use in the fall season and in the spring season. This Ramatra is kind of a sleeper pick this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and when obviously it's hard to predict what your opponent's going, but right here, the prediction does favor Shaker Heights going up against that Reinhardt. So very good counter, and really also you want to watch out for that Sim. She can get in such high damage, and you can tell that Mei, Rein, Lucio combo, they are really, oh no. Shaker Heights, please stop. Luckily, East Canton will figure it out. The Reinhardt going in. Peak masculinity here. This Reinhardt getting in some good damage along with the rest of the team. There will be picks falling on both sides of the spectrum. Ramatra will fall to Sleepy Leaf, as Dragon Dino will also get Gavin. It's gonna be in favor of Shaker Heights here. East Canton with the Moira in the backline, though, will be getting a pick. Excuse me.
Say it's in the favor of Shaker, but Shaker does have the longer respawn, so every single person they lose is just going to let EC able to recover even faster. As we see already, they push into the front lines, taking down the tank and taking down on the DPS. The play that Shaker Heights was looking for was really a one-and-done strategy. You get your one pick and you have to get out, but they weren't able to utilize their speed enough, and that's going to be EC already getting 2 ticks onto the point. That big Empowered Punch, though, is going to lead to even more casualties. There's only 2 picks are going to be going over to East Canton. But the damage is being dealt, and both Tricky Tech and Dragon Dino are going to fall. Both supports being felled means it is going to be a cleanup for East Canton.
East Canton played that so phenomenally. As you were saying, just that longer respawn, they were, East Canton could regroup a lot quicker than what Shaker Heights could. And in the end, that just came to their advantage. And even on the touch that Shaker Heights made trying to regain the site, they played it phenomenally and stuck together.
Again,
and they're
Shaker
creating
going
a
with
lot of space here.
Definitely are, and Shaker Heights again with exploitable backline. Crossing Clover is going to get deleted with that nade there. It's gonna, the flashbang's going to stop him from going anywhere. Pokemon Chu is going to have to dive in, but doesn't have any cooldowns. That's going to be EST Hornet 3, just going to be running it down and be able to take down Sleepy Deep with no DPS left in the fight. It's going to be difficult for them to even come back. Azuri, though, is going to have their life taken away as Pokemon Chu goes in with Dragon Dino. Pokemon Chu, though, is going to miss his punch and now has to try to just kite his way over to the Mega because taken down by Gavin. EC Hornets are really fighting their way through this street phase of King's Row.
Shaker Heights really needs to find a way to shut down this just absolutely phenomenal Ramatra gameplay we're seeing here. There will be a freeze coming out on the side of Shaker Heights, and also the Lucio beat. Full chaos. You're seeing ults after ult coming out on the side of East Canton as well. No kills yet. It is just absolute chaos. And finally, the annihilation will come out for EC Hornet, but Shaker Heights will be getting 2 picks and trying to push off this East Canton team seemingly effectively at the moment. Sleepy Leaf will get stinking, and then Dragon Dino will chase down EC Hornet to the Ramatra for East Canton, and Shaker Heights will live another tick.
That's going to be EC expelling 4 ults just for Shaker Heights 3. It's an uneven trade, especially with Sleepy Leaf already being 70% back to their Blizzard. It's going to be a hard one for East Kitten with after they just deleted their ult economy there. They're going to have to make sure this Ultra Ego Baki's Blizzard is not like the rest and is going to be big, but with a Death Blossom that huge onto Gavin and onto Azuri, it's going to be hard to get back.
And what an absolutely ballsy play for Cross and Clover, but you know that was planned out with the rest of his team. The communication there was just so phenomenal. I can only imagine what the Discord call was like. Hey guys, I'm setting up for a big Blossom. I'll call it when I pop it, push in right after. And they did just that, playing it phenomenally, as East Canton will be pushing strongly here against this dive, and then the May ult will come out for the side of Shaker Heights as Cross and Clover trying to pick some more. Pikmonchu will finish off the kill and get the trade. This May falls as she has no cooldowns left. Pikmonchu trying to finish off this Life Weaver. Poor guy. Not much else you can do there. Pikmonchu in the back line trying to finish off this Ramatra. Tricky Tex will get the pick. This Cassidy ult will fall and get 2 on the side of East Canton. Gavin will finally go down though. And the fight is slowing down. It is. It very much so is.
Very scrappy fight. Baki utilized, just a few fights ago, utilized his Blizzard. I didn't even notice that it was gone before it even happened, and now the staggers coming from East Canton somehow let them into the advantage state, but it's going to be Crossing Clover getting onto the dive. The beat comes out, and that's going to be an aggressive play, but that is good for Ramatra popping his annihilation, and that is going to be Pikmonchu giving it to Gavin, but EC Hornet 3 is running it down in the backline. The block is not going to be enough to sustain Pikmonchu as EC Hornet 3 is tired of the stalemate, and it's going to be able to get 3 and start pushing the cart back towards the second point.
That was absolutely a phenomenal counter ult by EC Hornet. He waited a second for that beat to slow down, and then he ended up popping it and getting 2 and leading his team to get more. Dragon Dino trying to contest, but that's just going to be a stagger as the rest multiple ults falling by both sides. You're gonna see that orbital ray and tree coming respectively from each side. Pikmanchu gonna pop his meteor strike. Pure chaos on site as multiple picks come on the side of East Canton, and East Canton has the advantage here. Can they do anything with it? Pikmanchu trying to hold off, just 1 meter left. EC Hornet gonna pick off Sleepy Leaf. And what is going on? East Canton's Moira in their backline. Gavin picks off Dragon Dino. Gavin getting another one. Ultra Baki getting that pesky Juno. Sorry, brain fart, man. So much is going on here as Pikmanchu will fall as well, and East Canton getting a great push.
It was a long, expensive fight for Shaker Heights. They were able to stall it into OT, but East Canton were able to hold on to the majority of their ults and even build up another annihilation. We're going to see a wall being channeled here. Ultra Eco Baki is looking to the wall off this Zarya. The wall is going to come up, and the Zarya is going to immediately have to use their bubbles. They're getting burned. There's total HP. The annihilation gets popped. The people on Chu is just going to get ran over. Tricky Tech can't sustain themselves as they're going to fall down. If you hold a 3 is trapped, but it's going to get supported up. But the annihilation going down. He has his punchy form in play. He's going to continue to go aggressive as Sleepy Leaf is going to fall. East Canton was looking staggered, but now they're looking more focused than ever as they're able to throw the blizzard on parts and able to get the rest of the staggers.
I really like the switch up there at the end for Shaker Heights, but they just could not find their footing, and they couldn't even hold them to OT, unfortunately. That would have been a massive hold if they could have just held off for another 26 seconds. But in the end, it's gonna be East Canton coming out on top there. Just absolute chaos. You can see how close in skill both of these teams are.
Very good contingency there, and really good planning from Ultra Ego Baki and EC Hornet 3. They knew that Shaker Heights was going to play aggressive as they usually do and push past where the May can set up the wall. The plan was put up the wall, burn Zarya bubbles, burn both Zarya bubbles, and then we pop the annihilation and just delete the rest of the team. And when you don't have any bubbles on Zarya, you're basically just a DPS character, which can easily be felled, as we just saw. And really good planning there from both of those players. Only having to use one ult, more or less, to win that fight. The rest could just be used to stop touches and to secure the round.
Yeah, absolutely. The communication on this East Canton team is phenomenal. You're seeing these ults come out just at the exact perfect time. You know his team was communicating, hey, this Zarya is completely on all of her cooldowns. Go for the annihilation and change the trajectory of the team fight. We will see the Widow come out for Cross and Clover. Will they be as successful as they have been with other characters? Landing some shots early on. You see Pikmanchu on that Doomfist once again, trying to dive in a little bit. Will find the May. Cross and Clover just pinned that May there. Will be getting some more damage, and Pikmanchu goes in, gets a 3-man. Cross and Clover finishing up on that Widowmaker.
One of the kryptonites of East Canton, Faras, Junkrats, and Widowmakers. As we see that Ultra Ego Baki kind of got himself stuck into that corner. That is not a door. You cannot walk through that door into Hotel. But now Cross and Clover being sped around by his Lucio, he's going to be able to just take this off angle, and if East Canton is unaware about this Widowmaker, it could be a big problem.
This is very risky on the side of Shaker Heights. Pikmanchu going in, picking off a Moira immediately. He doesn't need a team when he has himself. Lucio will be falling in as well, falls a little low, will survive. Pikmanchu trying to get more eliminations, has that meteor strike, will pop it, use it to get some health back, will fall on that Cassidy. Falling awfully low, Cassidy does fall. Can Pikmanchu get away from this Ramatra? Will?
He did.
As Cross and Clover being sneaky in the backline will pick off the Sojourn. This Shaker Heights team It doesn't matter if they're ballsy, it just seems to work. Pikmanchu going in for more. Bloodthirsty will finally fall back, but taking all this space early on must be so intimidating for this East Canton team. Gets him off the map. Pikmanchu, you're insane. Still diving in, Bloodthirsty. Ramatra falling in a little too far. Sleepy Leaf will pick off Gavin, and the staggers just keep on coming in for East Canton. Pikmanchu and Lucio showing no mercy. Pikmanchu going into their spawn, having a fun time, almost has that meteor strike if he needs to use it. Will just fall back though. You do see that annihilation coming on. And also, East Canton has about all of their alts, but Shaker Heights also has quite a bit themselves.
5 minutes on the clock for Shaker Heights. We're gonna see the meteor strike come in as well. As the Sojourn cannot get sustained, but Pikmanchu seem to have been taken down by the Ravenous Vortex. This is gonna get taken down as already is gonna get the res on the Ultra Ego Baki, and EC 103 gets moved off the map. Both tanks skip their lives taken away by environmentals. The Gavin is gonna be the ones able to make the difference here. He's gonna take down one. That's gonna be the beat initiated by the Shaker Heights Lucio Dragon Dino, and that's going to be enough for Shaker Heights to take down the rest as Pikmanchu is able to get back in the fight quickly with his maneuverability on Doomfist.
And with 3 ults coming online for Shaker Heights, they might be able to finish this out right now. There will be a big Sunray. It's so close. Will fall this Alari. Tricky Tex trying to get some healing out desperately for their team. Pikmanchu going in, getting one. Getting revenge for his Junkrat. Gavin will use his ult. 2 environmentals by the support carry, you might even say. As it's cleanup time for Shaker Heights. Can they hold off this East Canton team to get these last 1.5 meters? Pikmanchu about to have his meteor strike targeting this Mercy. The Mercy will fall for East Canton, and so does the Ramatra. This might be game over for East Canton. And there it is. There will be an overtime round here, as it's going to be 3-3 for both sides by an absolute dominant attack by Shaker Heights.
4 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock for Shaker Heights, and just the that was very unlucky for East Canton there. I saw what they were doing. They're trying to rotate over and get the Alari. Gavin did not hit the shots in time, and with the help of the Doomfist, we saw Tricky Tech able to get the double boop onto both DPS, and that just sealed the fate there for both of East Canton. And honestly, East Canton, they're just like, they're confused at the moment of what to do. They keep letting themselves get staggered. They're not grouping up. The amount of team fights they could have had in the streets phase was like double the amount of what they took. They took like one good team fight the entire time, and the rest was just staggers. So that 5 minutes that the Shaker Heights had on the field is mainly because the streets phase was not played correctly at all. Now East Canton is in a very bad spot where they have only 1 minute to Shaker Heights' 4 minutes. And honestly, 1 minute is only enough for one team fight on this first point. So we're going to see if East Canton can cap it.
Absolutely. I mean, East Canton just could not figure out a way to stop the unstoppable object that was Shaker Heights. There will be a strong theater push coming on, but Pikmanchu just diving in. Sleepy Leaf and Crossing Clover will get a pick, and so does Pikmanchu. There's only going to be 2 left for Shaker Heights or East Canton. What can they do with this?
They're going to get staggered into this hotel, especially the tank getting staggered out so slowly. Now that one fight that they had is going to be more or less a half a fight where one of the players is going to have to touch before even can really do much. Azuri Gets killed again in the spawn doors with only 15 seconds left. Someone has to touch here. Then it can't be the tank, it can't be the support, it has to be Gavin, the only player on the team who has the ability to touch. The Maywall is not going to be helpful, as Gavin is going to try to risk his life to go and touch. He is going to be able to get it. The Brig is in, but there's not a lot of space to work with. They're going to get a pick on the tricky tech, was thinking he's going to trade with his life, but Sleepy Leaf is taking him down. Now it's going to be a 3v3 with a lot of going the way, but Sleepy Leaf with a 3k on the Junkrat, the 4k, looking for the 5. It's going to be a pulse bomb to finish it off, and East Canton is not going to be able to even get a single tick on to the King's Row defense attack.
And that is so heartbreaking, because now Shaker Heights only needs to get one tick in order to end this Kings Row matchup that East Canton chose. And so far, East Canton looked very promising on attack, at least in the first half, but they couldn't do anything on defense. They need to find a way to switch it up here, or it might just be over within seconds. It's a tall order. You got to hold them for 4 minutes and 17 seconds. But it's possible.
It has been done before by multiple players on this roster.
Kings Row can be crazy sometimes. I've seen, full pushes before on just, the overtime attack. So it doesn't look like there will be much switching up. You need to look at Cross and Clover, though. He will be that just dominant force here with that Symmetra. They're gonna be trying to get a little tricky here and trying to end this out quickly.
East Canton, they had promise on that attack, but just too many staggers and not enough target prio. They're going to see how they're going to defend this point, as the TP straight on the point is going to immediately go. The TP bomb as well. They're going to get booped off the point. The only person on point there is going to be the Ramatra. Peekmonchu in the back, trying to get some good picks. He is going to fall low and going to fall down, as Gavin's going to get the pick, but the GPS gets the trade. Crossing Clover gets a pick onto the tank, and Gavin falls as well. Now with the ticks going down and down, only one player left, but East Canton is remaining, and that is going to be Shaker Heights taking map 2 of Kings Row, which is East Canton's map pick.
I said they were gonna try going fast. I said they were gonna try just getting sneaky with that Symmetra. Not really sneaky, more like brute force. But either way, just a very dominant display shown by Shaker Heights.
Yep, we saw Sleepy Leaf here just left unchecked. He was just sat there, left unchecked, was able to do massive amount of damage in the East Canton backline. You just need more scouting from this East Canton roster to be able to tell where the enemy roster is, where their DPS are, especially because we see Crossing Clover and Sleepy Leaf getting away with murder, more or less, as they're just not, no one is saying where they are. They're being able to pop up out of nowhere and just take them down. Now, we are going to be seeing the next map either be a push, flashpoint, or clash being put into the map pool. So we're going to see what they're going to choose on East Canton's side.
Now, I mean, this is a really big predicament here for East Canton. We've seen how Shaker Heights plays fast, hard, and aggressive. So, really, this is not a good map 3 to, have. Or at least game mode. You've seen how Shaker Heights can just dominate with this dive and just be so explosive, and it's over in 1, 2, 3. So definitely not ideal for East Canton here.
East Canton are gonna have to get control of these DPS from the Shaker Heights backline, more or less. And honestly, East Canton on their backline, they need to be a little bit more careful of where these DPS are, and also maybe swap around. I know that Stinkin more or less is a life weaver one trick, but Azuri, I know her character pool is a lot deeper than she is showing right now. At the moment, all she's really been playing is that Mercy or the Moira. The Moira I actually liked a lot better than the Mercy whenever we saw right up there at the end. Whenever Azuri swapped over to the Mercy, it's more of a comfort pick for her, but in the current meta, I just don't think Mercy has enough to bring to the table against such explosive teams like Shaker Heights.
Absolutely. And I really did love seeing that Moira. You saw some, honestly, I'd say game changing, at least fight changing, picks from that, just getting sneaky, going in that back line. So if you could honestly just get something going where you can orient your team around that kind of dive aspect and just have a surprise attack in the back, get some picks, have that Moira to clean up your kills. Um, it could very well work out for East Canton, especially on these more dive teams where Moira doesn't even need to aim. She just points in your direction and holds left click to damage. So definitely I'd like to see the team orient a little bit more around that playstyle. But at the very moment, we are going to head to a little break as this next matchup is going to be the third map with this push, clash, or flashpoint. So see you guys in a little bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esports Ohio. This is a make-up week for the Overwatch 2 Premier Spring Season. We still have with us Shaker Heights versus East Canton, and at the moment, Shaker Heights 2-0 versus East Canton. This is a match point, and this does have seeding potential for both of these teams. Shaker Heights at the moment is 5-0 on the season, and East Canton is 5-1. So I don't know if it'll shake up the playoffs at all, but it will put East Canton at a worse seeding if they lose this match. So definitely a lot is at stake.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot is at stake for both of these teams. It's really a matter. I mean, both these teams, I believe, are going to be making the playoffs. I mean, they're both phenomenal teams, and I'd be just baffled if they didn't because of this. But I mean, actually, you're seeing a lot of diversity here with the characters they're choosing. You see these versatile teams, and it is so fun to just watch them duke it out. It is 2-0 right now for Shaker Heights as the action is now beginning. You see the Junker Queen on the side of Shaker Heights versus that Mauga of East Canton falling dangerously low. Sleepy Leaf will pick off. It's just a massacre on the side of Shaker Heights, getting multiple picks and cleaning up. Just a venture left and will fall. Just an incredible show of dominance here early on for this Shaker Heights team.
Yeah, we see there that the Mauga and the supports were playing way too aggressive there. They're playing in front of their Mauga. The Mauga just now going to get swapped over to a Sigma. The entire team is going to swap. All 5 players on the East Canton roster swap over to a more poke style comp, where they're going to play with this Mercy a little bit better, but no scouting is going to come through as Cross and Clover is just going to hit a nice axe onto the Mercy, and that is going to make her fall to 1 HP, and it's going to get life grip. She's not going to get taken down immediately. As striking down, it does get picked onto Gavin, but the trades are even at the moment. But as the longer this fight goes, the more beneficial it is for Shaker Heights. It is 60% on the clock. Also, Gigavaki hitting some nice shots from Sojourn as they are finally going to be on the front foot for this match.
You're seeing just dominance from both sides. Sleepy Leaf will be picking off that Sojourn, though, as East Canton will be taking back this point, so not quite over yet on this first objective. 89% for Shaker Heights, and just getting right back into it. That might stagger them, but Sleepy Leaf will pick off that Mercy and pick Manchu on the DPS this time, picking off Gavin and just cleaning up for Dragon Dino and Sleepy Leaf. Wow. And something we haven't talked about too much is just the DPS of these Shaker Heights supports. You see Dragon Dino and Tricky, you know, getting tricky, getting these picks, getting this damage, and just the unsung heroes of Overwatch even getting some damage, as it looks like Shaker Heights is in a little bit of a huddle here, getting a game plan going.
Yeah, Sleepy Leaf able to really get their ultimates faster than anyone really could see, and then the dagger gets thrown out onto the Mercy immediately, and that's going to be the Cassidy and the Mercy way too far out of position, as they're going to get immediately taken down by Cross and Clover and Peak Wanchu, as that's going to be the rest of the East Canton roster getting cleaned up here by Cross and Clover and Kirby.
And you're going to see 4 alts just about here for the Shaker Heights team. Meanwhile, East Canton will have all 5 of their alts for this next team fight. So you really, if you're East Canton, you need to worry about not overusing your alts. You need to conserve some. And even the same goes for this Shaker Heights team. So you're going to be seeing some action immediately going on, and the Carnage, or the Carnage comes out and just annihilates 2 players. Cross and Clover doing just wonders on this Junker Queen, as multiple picks falling for both sides. Gavin gets 2, but then gets cleaned up by Sleepy Leaf. Tricky Tech finding that Sigma, but East Canton will be staggered, and at about 60%, it's going to be hard to regroup and touch here.
Especially with a slow comp like a Sigma comp that mainly focuses on poking and can't really get to the point aggressively. They do have 4 ults to make it a little bit more even, but the same could be said for Shaker Heights. EC Hornet 3 is going to take down Peak Bond Shoe with the help of Missouri with the beam, helping them out more. This fight is going aggressive here. Gavin, overstasis welcome, finds the business side of an axe from the Junker Queen. Tricky Tech trying to get a pick onto the Sojourn. That's going to be the flashpoint. Already getting capped. The Shaker Heights doesn't even have to worry about this fight anymore.
And this is match point here now for Shaker Heights. They're 2-0 on the series and 2-0 on this map. So, really, East Canton needs to find their footing. It does look like they will probably be staggering a couple members of Shaker Heights here. And both teams with pretty even ults. This is going to be interesting to see who can grab this flashpoint. Sleepy Leaf is going to be duking it out with the Sojourn on the side of East Canton, but will be falling back. And it looks like East Canton will be trying to regroup, go into this last flashpoint, and trying to get an early advantage on it. Shaker Heights at the moment is pretty spread out. This Junker Queen is completely by herself. She can fall here, and she will by EC Hornet. Sleepy Leaf will get a counter pick on Stinkin'. And Shaker Heights will get this point early on. But will they be able to hold off the Bastion ult, and the beat will come out for Shaker Heights and the Venture ult. All of the ults for Shaker Heights coming out, trying to finish off this East Canton team here early. But will they be too overzealous? And will that be their downfall here?
East Canton holding onto their ults for quite a while here, almost for 3 flashpoints, and now it's going to start to be an issue. They are going to get a pick on the Peak Manchu, whoever stayed. That is going to be a lift. The clutch is going to be able to hit 3. It's going to be big, as that's the ultimate Wabashi and Gavin able to capitalize off it. The Tree of Life is going to be used. The Rampage, though, is going to be hit multiple. The Rock is going to save the life of the members of East Canton, but Crossing Clover with all of his perks online is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Finally, the point is going to be flipping over to East Canton if they're able to get these Shaker Heights players off of it. Now, one fight territory, if Shaker Heights is going to be able to win this fight and cap the point, that will be it. Map 3 will be taken.
You see this Alari for Shaker Heights already has 70% ult back. So this could be a very devastating ult here, pushing on the site. Shaker Heights trying to finish this out. That Sojourn will fall awfully low for the side of East Canton. This Junker Queen trying to finish them off, will not, but there will be 2 picks and 3 for Shaker Heights and 4, and that will most likely and will be the series going to Shaker Heights High School. 3-0 on Junk City and 3-0 on the series. Shaker Heights going to 6-0, flawless on the season.
Shaker Heights, their DPS definitely knew how to position themselves around that flashpoint, and Crossing Clover swapping over to the Junker Queen just to close it out. East Canton struggled on the flashpoint. They really had a lot of bad staggers that did not help them at all in the team fights, and the 3-0 that has to be devastating for East Canton, that came prepared, ready to fight Shaker Heights, started to look okay on the first control point, but they just could not handle all of what Shaker Heights has to offer with their very extensive roster. And yeah, EC holding their heads high at the moment as they are going to be out of the lobby, as they did do pretty well against Shaker Heights, one of their nemesis, the people that are gate kept them so long, and they always have a hard time against Shaker Heights, and honestly, they did just about as fine as they could do this year against them.
Yeah, this Shaker Heights team played so phenomenally. They were such a dominant force. And this East Canton team, unfortunately, just could not come out on top. And, I mean, they fought and they fought and they fought until the very end. That resilience really says something about the team they have in East Canton. But with all that being said, next week we will be having another makeup week. And so that game will be on, same time as normal, Monday. But any final remarks here? OP knees.
Nope. Just make sure that you guys check out on Thursday. We also have Valorant, Smash Bros. As well with their makeup week as well. Just getting everyone situated for the seeding for the playoffs that will be April 5th and 6th. So make sure you do not miss those dates. April 5th and 6th are going to be the playoffs for these premier high school teams. But that is all that we are going to be having for you guys today. Thank you everyone for watching. I've been OP Knees, and thank you, I'm Not Sure, for casting with us, and we'll see you guys later.